Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button. Great growth in the past couple weeks. We can't thank you enough. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's favorite TikTok. Don't forget, join us on Twitter or on Reddit as well. Join the conversation there and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Yes, we got CFL talk. We got a bit of NHL talk, a bit of NFL talk, I guess. But let's start with what we usually do: the good, the bad, and the ugly, with the Bombers and the Redblacks playing in that crazy matchup. Ah, big L for the Bombers.
Oh, yeah.
The good. Let's start with the good. Go ahead. You got something good?
I guess the sacks, the amount of sacks they ended up getting, and the guys getting the sacks, and Big Hill with two, Jeff Coe getting another one out there. Willie Jefferson, he was a force for quite a bit of the game, and then Ricky Walker and Mauro as well, getting one in there. So props to those guys. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, but good effort there.
The good was the beginning of the game. The first half, they got out to an 18-0 lead. Talked about them getting it going earlier on in the game, and they kind of did that. Mention of getting Dembski involved in the game. He got a touchdown early. That was good to see. DeMario Houston with another interception and really got the Bombers' momentum going. Dude's always a threat. He's a ball hawk. Like, he creates a turnover every game. No, more than that. 7 turnovers, 5 games. That's crazy. Yeah. And of course, Willie Jefferson, like you mentioned, early shout out to him. First ever CFL player with 60 knockdowns and 60 sacks. I think he's at 64 knockdowns and 60 sacks right now. So congrats to him. Still a force, still a dynamic defensive player. So wow, there was some good there. And of course, the whole D-line, like you said, 6 sacks, 4 of them in the first half. So there was some good.
Yeah, they definitely had their moments in that first half. I mean, the offense started slow, couple drives. Claros was already getting some pressure pretty early on. He was missing some throws. The play calling was kind of suspect, but like you said, they ended up being up 18-0. It took them a while to get to that, but they got there. And you're thinking, okay, they're cruising and they're well on their way. But really, in that second half, there was no good at all that I can think of. So, besides a touchdown.
That's a good segue to the bad then. I'll start with the bad. The coverage in the secondary was lacking. And I'm not questioning the talent level there, because we just, gave the flowers to DeMario Houston. But I'm looking more at the strategy. You have this great defensive line getting pressure on the quarterback. Why aren't you using a little more press and bump coverage and being more aggressive and seeing if you can cause more turnovers when they're getting desperate, rather than giving 5 yards separation and space in the middle of the field, making it easy for the rookie quarterback? Mix up the coverage a bit. So I thought that was kind of bad, man.
Yeah, and I think Kahari figured that out, man, because the play calling in that second half, even on the last or the drive that led to Ottawa's field goal in that first half, they seem like they started to figure out what the Bombers are doing, and they called plays that would beat those. Yeah, you always had the guys on the wide side open, and Crum would just roll out a little bit. Houston, he did have the interception, but he got beat deep. If that guy, I can't remember his name now, dropped the ball, like, that's a clear touchdown for Ottawa.
Yeah. Was it Behar?
No, it started with an S now that I think I can't.
Gotcha.
Scribbins? No.
Names, eh?
I don't know. But either way, like, it was a big drop for Ottawa, and you're thinking, okay, this is not going Ottawa's way. But yeah, for me, again, the other ones were drops, like Dalton Schoen and Greg McRae on those bombs downfield. And Claros wasn't on point a lot, or not for this whole game. Like, there was a lot of missed throws. He made some great throws as well.
Yeah.
But those ones, he had those on point, and those are guys, especially Dalton Schoen. He makes some tough catches, and to see him drop that one was like, wow, like that puts the game away almost, kind of
thing. That usually doesn't happen.
Complete that. No, it doesn't. So that was pretty bad for me as well.
And the O-line, again, constant pressure on Claros, the 3 sacks, but 3 huge sacks. Like, he took a physical beating. There was one time where he got up and he was limping a little. I was like, oh my goodness. And they couldn't run the ball.
No,
like, I mentioned Ottawa being, 3.9 yards against, but you got Oliveira 9 for 16, averaging less than 2 yards a carry. Ugh, that's horrible. And I will die on this hill. I've mentioned it almost every week for the past 4 weeks and the last half of the season. Why aren't they playing the heavy, tight end offensive set? It's been successful for the most part. I'm not understanding that, especially against a team with a good D line. Like,
Yeah.
it's so let's talk about the offensive play calling because it was also
Mhm.
suspect. They seemed very
Yeah.
predictable. They weren't using Dembski in any kind of motion after a while, or McRae. It's puzzling. And again, Buck Pierce was a concern at the beginning of the year, and I love the guy. He put his heart out for Winnipeg. He had a great restaurant earlier on, but as of right now, it's suspect, at least in
Yeah.
my eyes.
It was quite a bit early in that first half. I mean, like the first two series, it was just like, wow, like they weren't moving anywhere. Then they had a good drive for the touchdown and all that. But hey, talking about play calling, the 2nd and 7 play with a minute and something left, you just ran the ball, got 3 yards, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you got nothing all game in the run game, and you're putting the game on the line with a run play.
yeah,
Why? This is
mind-boggling.
this is what you have all these receivers for. Even Oliveira, he had a great day catching the ball.
Yeah,
We'll talk about a play later, but you know, it out of the backfield. He just needs 7. Like get him the ball in the hands. You get that first down, the game's probably over. Right?
absolutely.
If that, you're leaving him with 10 seconds to make it down the field. So to me, again, yeah, play calling, it was very suspect. And in certain times, it was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hey, I was one of those earlier on in Richie Hall's tenure. Was like, yo, what is this guy doing? And then he got some great ballers. They scouted, they brought in some great players, and they still are bringing some great players. But right now, this coverage looks weak. Just sitting back there waiting for something to happen, allowing a fourth stringer, first time starter to just pick apart the defense.
Well, that time of possession in I meant to look it up what that was in the second half, but that D was probably gassed. In that second half, the Bombers got 1 touchdown, right, and barely any decent drives in that second half. They were a lot of 2-and-outs or quick drives, so that D was gassed. And to me,
Yeah,
another bad is the missed tackles, missed sacks, especially on that last drive. Man, like we talked about Adam Bighill's 2 sacks, but he got burned pretty good by Crum along with the rest of the guys on that tying TD or the one within 2, and then
yep.
the overtime one that won the game
Oh,
ultimately.
the
So
middle of the
there was no
field
one
again.
around. The guy didn't get touched. How do you not get touched?
The middle of the field
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Like, where was everybody?
And when we talk about like Demario Houston playing great on defense, the guy had 6 tackles. There's no way your cornerback should be getting 6 tackles. That means
Yeah.
something's not happening up front. The running back's getting to the second and third level. And also because he didn't get many completions on him. You know what I
No.
mean? So there are extended plays happening and blocks happening. And it's just, come on now. That defense has got to really tighten up. Have we already
Yeah.
covered the ugly pretty much? The other,
Well, yeah. I mean,
oh my
ugly.
goodness.
I mean, blowing a 16-point lead in the last 2:38. We haven't talked about these 2 turnovers. The Oliveira fumble. I don't know what
Yeah.
he's doing carrying the ball like that. Like you
No.
got a very big game there, man, and you're moving it and you're carrying that thing like a loaf of bread, just open to be punched out.
Yeah.
And then the interception, the Klaros interception
Oh,
on the pass of Wolotarski. I don't know if Wolotarski moved to the wrong spot and Klaros threw to the old spot that Wolotarski was, but unfortunately, Wolotarski trying to make the catch knocked it into the Ottawa hand and you know, pick 6.
was Brady Oliveira near the sideline?
Yeah. Yeah, he was running up the sideline, and the guy he had that ball out, and the guy right from behind, right, punched it out. Big play, man.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about those no more. Special
And
teams. Oh, go ahead.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, no, go ahead. Yeah, I mean the other play was again the defense. Dustin Crum ended up throwing for 261 yards and ran for 74 more. Four-string quarterback. He was like Rocky Butler out there, kind of thing. We were
Why would
there.
you say that
We were
name?
there.
Ugh.
Because I still can't get over Bombers getting destroyed by a 4th-string quarterback, and then again happening here. So ugly loss for the Bombers, man.
What a horrible time that was after that loss.
Oh yeah, yeah. Being in
Yeah.
Regina after that, yeah.
Let's move on to CFL grades. Bomber fans, put your thoughts below. Sorry to be so negative. There was some good in there. Throw your good, throw your bad, and ugly. Looking
The
forward to
good, the
next week
good is they get to play Thursday already.
against the Elks.
Yes.
Hopefully, knock on wood. CFL Team Grades. Let's start off. I'll go with Hamilton. They got a B from me. They got the win, and they won consecutive games for the first time this year. And they got James Butler going 14 for 127, 9 yards a carry. And Leggio's still perfect with field goals.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, Schlitz is out. Schlitz is out, and Taylor Powell will make his first start against the undefeated Argos. But they get a B this week.
Right on. Their counterpart, the Elks, I'm going to give them a D. How many times have we given them a D? Again, how many times are we going to go over and figure out if Cornelius is the answer or not? The guy's shown flashes. He's looked good in certain situations. But that interception against Hamilton was just a backbreaker, and you can't do that, man.
What was that?
Exactly. And the guy has taken first string reps, I think, for this week already. So
yeah.
At this point, man, you got to see what Doge or Ford can do and figure it out, man. I don't know, but it's not looking good for the Elks.
No.
Tied a 70-year-old record for most losses at home in a row.
You know what? Screw you, ESPN. The only time they acknowledge the CFL is when they tie. Now they're a major league to consider, eh? Now you want to talk about them with MLB teams and such.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Argos, B plus, A minus. Chad Kelly took another step forward. You know, he did have one bad pick, a weird one where he threw it across his body for no reason. But other than that, man, 84%, 350, 3 touchdowns. I've been on that. You know what? I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I've been on his fan bandwagon for a while now. And that guy on defense, McManus, he was crazy. He reminds me of Kyrie Bear. Remember that dude?
Oh, yeah, he was awesome.
He's lining up all over the field, man. They're going to be tough to beat. 4-0, first time since 1983 when they won the Grey Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, and we keep talking about that last Grey Cup and how the Bombers lost it kind of thing, but maybe the Argos were just starting to figure it out and pick up steam, right? Chad Kelly's looked great.
Absolutely.
And it's good for the league. It's good for the league. Their counterpart, Montreal, you know what? Good game from them. I'm going to give them a B minus. That game altogether was crazy. You know, and I didn't expect Montreal to be in it. Not like that. Anyways, I didn't expect them to be able to score like that against the Argos D. But Fajardo did well, 26 of 36. Ultimately, though, he had 2 interceptions as well in that game. So Stanback was a little bit better, running and catching the ball. Austin Mack, Julian Grant, those are 2 good receivers. We were harping on Montreal early and even in the preseason, offseason, how they had no receivers after losing Weineke, Lewis, and all that stuff. But good on them, man. They got 2 good ones in Mack and Grant.
Absolutely. Winnipeg Blue Bombers. What grade am I going to give them? I'm going to give them a D. Complete collapse. We've listed it all, so no need to go over it again. Winnipeg gets a D from me.
Yeah, the only other good is Lawler is going to be back this Thursday, right? So hopefully that helps that offense pick up a bit of a spark.
Not if they can't get that running game going like this week.
That too, man. Listen, if you play the Elks, man, we did this last week. We laughed because we were playing the Redblacks, and look what happened. So
there's no laughing here in Winnipeg.
There should not be any laughing.
There is no laughing in Winnipeg.
Redblacks, I'm going to give them a B plus. You know what? Not a great first half for them at all, but second half was wicked for them in a way. Great win, great for Bobby Dice. Big game for Kahari Jones, play calling in that second half as well. So -5 yards they had at one point in this game, like late in the first half. Came back to win. So B plus.
Yeah, shout out to Bobby Dice. Awesome. Calgary, I'll give him a B minus. Kind of felt like giving him an A as well. Meyer looked better. The defense played better. The special teams got by Alfred. Like 2 returns.
Yeah.
Ugh. And they couldn't get the running game going with Mills like they did against the Bombers. So I don't know if that's reflected on them or a reflection on the Bombers. But damn good game, you know, candidate for game of the year already. And I might actually lock it up already. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy CFL day. So I'm going to give Calgary a B minus.
Yeah, good for them. Yeah, maybe Calgary's starting to figure out, especially on D, because the last couple of weeks, even against the Bombers, they were looking better, right? So I'm going to give Saskatchewan a C. Slow start offensively, even before Harris took that terrible injury. The offense wasn't moving. Like you say, the 2 kick returns were their offense plus a field goal where their only offense really late into the third quarter. So they managed to make a bit of a comeback with Mason Fine. Defense still was not good for most of that game, and then they couldn't stop Calgary at the end there. So offense wasn't good, defense wasn't good, and coaching staff again questionable decisions there altogether. So see for them.
CFL fans, give us your favorite team's grade in the comments section below, and also subscribe. Victor Cui, president of the Edmonton Elks, has mentioned that he's always thinking about personnel changes. Are they handcuffed, or are there moves to be made? Go ahead.
I feel like they're pretty much handcuffed. Listening to him talk in his interview there, it seems like you got Jones being head coach, DC, GM. So in order to get, for him, maybe, hey, I'm done as head coach, right? Moves into the GM role only. You got to find a guy with experience with head coach on that staff, and they don't. And then also, apparently his contract is not set up in 1-year deals, so they'll still get hamstrung if they fire him for the next couple years on the caps as well, on the coaching cap. So I don't know, man, unless he can promote somewhere from in, or maybe take him out of the DC role and find someone else, give him one less job to do, things might help. But I don't think there's a move that Victor Cui can do that will help the team.
Yeah, you take the GM duties out of his
or that too,
out of his portfolio, without a doubt. That's too much. Worried about getting players in and coaching your team and coordinating defense. Nah, just take one of those away, and the one that makes sense is GM. I think Geroy Simon's already been training long enough as a football executive to just take the roles mid-season. He's been within this system or whatever's going on in Edmonton, unless Chris Jones is completely insular and he's not even part of the whole process. But that's the only position I can see them kind of taking out of his portfolio that would benefit the team. And also, they got to just free Trey Ford. Goodness gracious. Either play him or get some players for him, because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, the Elks are still paying coaching from 2020, the 2021 firings, right? Before Jones started. So those are still on their cap. It's not a good situation. But like you say, you got to take one of them. I don't know. Do you have to give Geroy a raise to take over the GM job? Who knows? But you got to do something. You can't just. I get him saying, you don't want to make a coaching change in the middle of the season. Generally doesn't help, especially in football. So you got to figure out something. You got to make one move, though, right?
Yeah, and it's not just at this point. It's not just about getting a win. It's about more fans leaving the stands. It's getting bad in Edmonton.
Yeah, the diehards will stay. The diehards will keep coming back, but it's the new. You're not getting the new fans, right?
Not at all.
And that's what Victor Cui has been trying to do for the last few years. But when you can't win at home, they're not going to keep coming.
No, there's no brand that beats losing.
No.
I'm sorry. There's no brand that beats losing. That's the Detroit Lions.
They're going to win the Super Bowl this year, though, right?
Oh, you know what? I go, wait. Hot topics. Women's World Cup coming up. Which country do you think will win the tournament? Which players are you most excited to watch? Let's talk about team first. I'm going to take Germany to win. They were the Euro finalists, and they're going in with a very similar team. Not as many changes as England. I think England was not as many changes as that team. And so I'm going to take Germania.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and take the United States.
You're going out on a limb, did you say?
No, I am.
4 out of 5 dentists have picked the U.S. team to win that championship, man.
I'm going to stick with them, man. They're too good, and until proven otherwise. And I know, and it's great because a lot of other countries are getting better, right? So I love that, and it grows the sport for sure. Not like in hockey where it's still Canada and the U.S. and that's basically it, right? At least for soccer, it's growing, and while I picked the United States, I wouldn't be surprised if they, someone else won it, just the way things have changed in the last little bit. But the USA is still number one.
Maybe Australia might win it. They've been really moving up in the ranks, and they have, speaking of players you want to see, they have that Sam Kerr, amazing player to watch, one of the best players in the world, ranked number 1 player in the world on most rankings, to be honest. So, hey, Philippines is in it.
Are they actually? That's good.
Philippines is in it, bro. So I gotta get a Philippine t-shirt for the Women's World Cup. I'm excited.
Italy's in there too. I didn't check what group they're in with, but
we gotta put some scratch on it. We got
we don't
gamble. Sorry, we don't.
No. The only top thing is in Australia, right? So all the games are 4 or 5 in the morning or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's why the
So
Filipino fans are going to be primed. It's perfect for their
yeah,
time zone.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I also am going to obviously watch a lot of Canadian games, so I'm going to be looking to watch Ashley Lawrence. She's a great player on Team Canada. Players that you want to see or excited to watch play?
I'm excited actually for Christine Sinclair to see what she can do. She's 40 years old, another
Yeah.
World Cup for her, and we've seen her score tons of goals for Canada. So I'm excited to see what she can do and what she can still bring at that age. And they're in a tough group. They're apparently the group of death, right, with Nigeria, Australia, and Ireland. So it'll be tough. Be some good games.
I don't know what makes me feel older, man. Watching players our age get into a Hall of Fame or watching players like Sinclair excel at 40. Either way,
Yeah.
I feel old, but I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Deandre Hopkins signs with the Titans. Thoughts on that? It just makes me think, why didn't they sign AJ Brown? He's younger, physically bigger.
Exactly.
Hopkins is pretty much at the end of his career, I think. And Tannehill's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Useless, waste of money.
His thing was 3 teams, or what team you wanted to go with? Good QB, good D, and a good chance to win. Well, I don't know. He didn't pick anything here because Tannehill struggled last year. Derrick Henry hasn't been as good as he was, and the D was mid-level or worse. So I think he should have taken less money, ended up in, say, Buffalo or Kansas City, a team that has a chance to win. But yeah, good luck there.
Oh, goodness. With the NFL camps on the horizon, which offensive triplet combination QB, wide receiver of current players would you take? You can go first.
I'm interested to see what you pick because I was looking through this and there's no like Michael Irving, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith kind of deal. Like you could find maybe a good quarterback and a good running back, good quarterback and a good receiver. I'm gonna go with Casey just because of Mahomes and Kelsey. You almost don't need you got Pacheco at running back. You can almost go with anyone there, and it'd be a decent triplet there.
Well, I guess I wasn't clear when I wrote that down in the breakdown today. I was thinking of any player you want in the NFL. So I have Mahomes, Devontae Adams, and Nick Chubb. So now I'm screwed. So you know what? I'm gonna pick Philadelphia. I'm gonna pick Jalen Hurts, Saunders, and AJ Brown.
Saunders is not there anymore, but you got Swift.
Yes, that's right, DeAndre Swift. Yeah. There you go. And they have that young running back that played there last year. I'll take either of them. Can't remember his name.
I did have the Eagles as well. Like the teams that you look at. I misunderstood what we were doing here.
I didn't write it right.
Yeah. You got the Bengals too, right? You got Burrows, Mixon, Chase. It's like, hey, Burrows and Chase, yes, Mixon, not so good. Even the Chargers, Herbert, Eckler, and then Keenan Allen, you're like, or even Mike Williams. So it's tough. There's not those teams with the 3 great players kind of in each position like there used to be. Anyways.
Well, maybe if I had more time to think about it, I'd think of more. On this day in sport, Wayne Gretzky signed with the Rangers in 1996. Who is the greatest NHL free agent signing of all time and why? You can go first.
I picked Zdeno Chara just because he helped transform Boston along with some other players there into what they ended up being for a good decade and more, right? Won the Norris, helped them win the Stanley Cup. He was named 4 times to postseason All-Star team as well. So great season once he ended up signing in Boston.
That's hard to pick against, but I'll go with Scott Stevens, cornerstone defenseman, 13 seasons, 3 cups with the Devils, a physical force. And I'd say other than what's his name? Oh, Martin Brodeur. He's probably the other reason why New Jersey had that. I call it a dynasty. No.
Yeah, they won quite a bit, and he was out there killing other players. So it was,
yeah, your boy.
Eric Lindros, man.
Your boy 88.
Paul Korea.
Making heads soft. Brickhead of the week, you got one?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give it to Randy Ambrosi and Genius Sports because we're halfway through July now, and we do not have stats. No CFL stats. He said it was going to be done in July. We're halfway through. We got 2 weeks left of CFL season, or this month, and there's no stats. So they get my Brickhead of the week for dropping a ball big time on this.
What a joke. When we have to go to satellite sites, American satellite sites to get the proper stats for the Canadian Football League. Good Brickhead. Once again, they could have had the Brickhead for the past 3-4 weeks in a row.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was giving them a chance here to get this done, but this is ridiculous at this point. Like, you can't even look at the stats and see where a quarterback's at. How does this help even the gambling stuff, really? If a guy picks the over, it's like, I don't even know. Yeah, I think he went over.
And even the stats you do have posted, Cumulative stats in PDF form? Come
Yes,
on.
that too. You can't search, you can't do anything. It's three guys on the PDF.
What do they have? Some monkey on AOL just messing around?
On
Oh,
dial-up.
I wanted to swear so badly. Shout out to Morgan Barron on signing a 2-year contract with the Jets. Really like that guy. Really like his versatility as a forward. He's going to be a big chip, I think, next year on this team. Morgan Barron, shout out.
Yeah.
You got anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, check us out, leave us a comment, and have a good week.
I'm sorry we couldn't be happier. Maybe next week after the Bombers play the Elks Thursday at IGF Field. We'll be back for week 7 coverage. So join us later on this week. And in the words of LeVar Burton, in the meantime, in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. So like Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, who's the bigger loss to their team not showing up in training camp?
I think, actually, that's hard to say. I was going to say because Daniel Jones needs a good running back, but I think Garoppolo needs a good running back. Absolutely. So probably Jacobs. Yeah, well, at least the Raiders got Devontae Adams. The Giants kind of have a mishmash still of guys there, right?
Yeah, but the Raiders have Garoppolo.
Yeah,
like he's gonna have a hard time getting it to.
Yeah,
they need
Devontae and whoever. He does need a good running game. Well, obviously we've seen that in San Francisco. So
at least Daniel Jones can extend plays with his feet a little bit. Not saying that Garoppolo's stone-footed, but Daniel Jones is an athlete.
At least the Raiders, they don't have any expectations really this year, right?
Oh, lowered expectations.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.